think we're live. Welcome. All right, so here's what I want to share with you today. I don't think this is going to be super long, but who knows? You know me, I like to talk. So there's definitely something that has shifted in the last year, especially in the online space, in doing business, even in the way we feel. And people are going to tell you that it's the economy. But I actually think that what we're seeing in the economy, maybe some of the friction that we're sensing is actually a ripple of something that goes much deeper than that. What I think has been happening over the last year and so is that, and I think this thing is going to come to a head this year, is that anything that no longer supports your true authenticity and your next level of sovereignty will no longer work. So it's almost like we're really being called to step into our bigness. We're really being called to stop, excuse my French, pussyfooting around, to play small, to dabble. And we're really being asked by life in some ways, by our soul, by our bodies, to come forward with full conviction, full certainty, and to show up from that place. So if you want to double, triple, even 10x your growth, your income, your visibility, your impact, your ease, peace, and freedom in this upcoming year, you're going to have to be willing to double, to triple, to 10x your authenticity and how you are stepping into your sovereignty. So that's what we're going to dive into in this training today. Before I dive deep, I want to take a minute to welcome you. I just feel so humbled and thrilled that quite a few of you are watching these trainings. You're leaving comments. Some of you are emailing me, telling me about how much you're loving my contents and my training and the depth. And so I'm really grateful. And for those of you who are brand new and you don't know who I am, hi, I'm Ilsa. Feel free to say hi, by the way. I always like to know new people and let me know where you're watching from. I'm in Boulder, Colorado, in the United States. It's really nice to connect. Personally, I'm a total spiritual nerd. I'm a little bit of a hermit, although I'm working on it. I'm a dog mama. I'm a nature lover and a total bookworm. Professionally, for the last 20 years or so, I've worked as a psychotherapist, an expansion expert, a strategist, helping high level, mostly. I work with all sorts of people, to be honest, but mostly helping high level service providers, ambitious transformational leaders to rewire their nervous system, their brain, their bodies, their businesses for easeful growth, for consistent results, for exciting but also deeply supportive levels of money. I help them be more, create more, receive more, hold and have more without second guessing themselves and without stressing and sabotaging. My wish for all of us, and I'm including myself in this, for this upcoming year is that we can double, triple our income, our impact, while also doubling our ease, our enjoyment, our free time. And if that calls for you, if that feels in alignment for you, then let's do some work together. If you check the description of this video, I have put 2 or 3 different ways that you and I can go deeper, some free, some paid. All right, let's get started. So as I stated right at the beginning of this training, something's shifted, and in this coming year, if you want to double, triple, 10x your growth, your income, your visibility, your impact, your joy, your freedom, your peace, then you're going to have to be willing to double, triple, 10x your authenticity and your sovereignty. And you're going to have to be willing to do that both in terms of what you're doing out there in the world, like your offers, how you're marketing, how you're selling, your messaging, even like who you're speaking to and the people you're serving, your pricing. And you're also going to have to be willing to do that in here in terms of who you perceive yourself to be, how you feel yourself to be, how you show up in your day-to-day life. So you have to be willing, like when we're talking about the in here, because when we talk about authenticity and sovereignty, it's a lot of in here. And when we shift the in here, it always ripples and percolates into how we show up in our lives and what we do and our business and our pricing and our offers and our marketing and all of that. But what we're being called to do in some ways is to double, triple, 10x our nervous system capacity, our ability to be fully authentic, to be sovereign, to have higher standards. We're being called to really expand our body's ability to stay in aliveness, in spaciousness, in certainty, in trust through essentially anything that comes our way. And we're really being called to step into that next level of identity for us. Because usually for me, that's how it works. You do the nervous system work and you do the body work, which also affects your brain and how you think of yourself and your belief system. And then when you have these things in place, then it automatically ripples into your identity. You become someone new. And as you become someone new, you start to do and show up in new ways. You start to make new offers. You start to have a new message and a new mission or a new level to your message and to your mission. So I want to invite you, like even right now, as we're doing this, just to like check in with yourself, to ask yourself, like, where are you staying stuck because you're afraid of experimenting, you're afraid of taking risk, you're essentially playing not to lose. You don't want to offend anyone, you don't want to push anyone, you don't want to be this bold, like you don't want to lose your old clients, like you're playing not to lose rather than playing to win. You're playing to maintain rather than playing to grow. And by the way, I ask this question of you, but this is a question I ask of myself as well. Because like I said, I am somebody who loves comfort. I'm a little bit of a hermit. I like my books. I like my little life. And I can fall into this like no one else. I sometimes I like to say I'm the laziest person I know. It's not very nice, but it's kind of true. Like I like to be comfortable. I don't like to work hard. And so I can stay stuck in being safe, essentially. So, ask yourself, where am I maintaining rather than playing to win? Where am I not taking risk? Where are you keeping yourself and your results small in an effort to stay safe? And in what way are you choosing smallness and safety in lieu of sovereignty? Your fear, your doubt, your contracted nervous system, and your body's inability to stay anchored in aliveness, in trust, in spaciousness are the things that are going to keep your identity small and keep you locked in your current level of income, your current level of impact, your current level of visibility. They're essentially like what's happening inside your body and your neurology is really what's going to define your identity, and your identity defines your current ceiling. So, as I stated, I'm always and continuing to refine this in myself. And the truth is that anytime you are ready to up level, this process is going to be needed. This sense of really seeing where you're essentially moving towards safety, towards smallness, rather than towards sovereignty and authenticity, and where you're keeping yourself and your results small, you're going to have to do that basically for the rest of your life, because we're always in a process of expansion. That being said, I think that this is especially necessary right now. Over the last few years, there's been like a momentum, especially in the online industry. If you're a business owner and you're online, and that momentum has allowed those of us, and I will own that this is me as well. It's allowed those of us who were maybe not completely in the fullness of our sovereignty, in the fullness of our authenticity, who were not maybe completely doing our own work internally to step into that next level of identity. Maybe we're playing it comfortable like this one. Maybe we're not taking as much risk. Maybe we're staying a little shy or people pleasing or keeping our rates low to make sure we don't exclude anyone. We're staying vanilla to not piss anybody off. Like the momentum that's happened, I think before COVID, but definitely through COVID, has allowed us over the last few years to continue to thrive, to continue to grow, to maybe continue to like make really decent money, regardless of how much we were stepping in the fullness of our own being, in the fullness of our own capacity, in the fullness of our own authenticity, sovereignty, and capacity. And it's like this buildup of momentum is like has carried us forward. But already, even last year in 2024, like, I'm in a bunch of different entrepreneurial groups and masterminds. I could hear it. Oh, I'm not able to sell to the level that I could. Like, I'm not getting the same level of engagement in my content. What used to work isn't working quite as well as it used to. So already last year, the momentum was slowing down. And some of us were able to maintain that. And some of us started to really see the dip. But I feel like this year, without taking those big internal leaps and without showing up externally in the fullness of our leadership, it's going to be hard to continue to grow in this coming year. If you want to create exciting levels of growth and income in your business, if you want that big impact, that big sense of visibility this year, you won't be able to do it without expanding and unlocking you. Expanding, unlocking your capacity, your standards, your worthiness, your conviction, your boldness, and your bigness. So for me, something has shifted to such a degree that any level of scarcity, of doubt, of feeling not enough, of people pleasing in here is going to affect and lock up your results out there. Anything that you do out there that is misaligned with your authenticity and your sovereignty and constricts your joy, constricts your peace, constricts your sense of authority, aliveness, spaciousness, autonomy, will lock up your results. It's like the universe, the essence of your mission, of your business, and your body as well, have like all of those things have come together and said, no more. And we're not being allowed to fake it anymore. We're not being allowed to be satisfied by less than what we really truly want. We're not being allowed to be okay with what doesn't feel nourishing anymore. And we're not being allowed to really create or thrive from something that is not authentically ours, that is not the truth of what we really want. So it's like the universe, life's not giving us much of a choice but to expand, to evolve, to get real, to get raw, and to really start to get curious about who we really are at our depth, at our core, beyond the wounding, beyond the conditioning, beyond the fears, and to also discover what is really true for each of us, what is really true for you, what is really true for me, and to start to build, to move, to live from that level of certainty and clarity. Literally, nothing else will satisfy and nothing else will work. And so for those of us who are kind of like moving into it, that can feel really scary, because we like this collective, this culture, this society does not train us on how to do that. It does not train us on how to anchor ourselves in certainty, in authority, in authenticity, in sovereignty. On the contrary, it's really conditioned us to put sovereignty, authority, authenticity even out there rather than in here. Unfortunately, all of that shit at this point contracts us, and you cannot create expansion from contraction. People, our people, your people, those who are meant to work with you, everyone's feeling the contraction in the collective. And your people are starving, they're thirsty for expansion, for spaciousness, for aliveness, for that authenticity and that sovereignty. They can feel how tight life feels, both out here and in here. And so what they're craving for is that expansion, that aliveness, that spaciousness, that authenticity and sovereignty. What that means for you as a leader, as a business owner, is that if you show up in the world, if you go to sell, if you market without being in your expansion, it's not going to work. Any kernel of contraction and misalignment that is here in you, they will sense and it will repel them. So I've said this in the past, that expansion is what gets the effortless yes. Expansion is the essence of joyful selling. But I think this is extra true from now on. Because I do think that when they sense contraction in you, whether that's your own self-doubt, whether that's you trying to sell something that you're not absolutely in love with, whether that is your pricing is off, it doesn't really matter. But if they sense any kind of contraction in you, it will contract them. And so there's enough contraction to go around. When they start to contract as they're being in your space, in your field, in your presence, they will decide that whatever you have is not for them. So your biggest power, your biggest selling feature is not what's included in your offer. It's your own alignment and your own sense of expansion and authenticity and aliveness. Because if you can show up from there, everybody who is meant to work with you is literally going to recognize in an instant that you are the person for them. So ask yourself, where in your business are you lacking alignment? Where in your business do you not feel truly alive, excited, inspired, spacious? And how do you think that lack of aliveness, of spaciousness, is affecting your flow, your life force, your sales, your bigness, your creativity. Like, where are you feeling contraction and misalignment? Where are you feeling small and playing small? Where are you even keeping and holding on to clients that are no longer a fit, that are no longer a joy to work with? Where are you continuing to maybe do some of the same old strategies you've been doing in your marketing for a long time, but they no longer light you up? They feel hard, they feel heavy, and you're continuing to do them because they've worked in the past and you're not sure what else to do? Where are you still holding on to some kind of old message and old mission because the new one, the thing that's coming up inside you, feels too bold? It feels too big. It feels like maybe you're not quite ready for it or worthy of it. Where are you still building a business based on someone else? What someone else told you, what someone else says is the way to do it, somebody else's authority, rather than what actually really feels true for you. And then look at your offers. Are you selling any offers that is not completely alive for you? You're not in love with them. Or maybe there's something about the delivery of your offer that doesn't feel spacious and fun, nourishing. Like, that is my invitation from an external perspective, is to really see where you're out of integrity with what is true for you, where you are doing things that are not lighting you up, that are not anchoring you in your sovereignty, that are not making you feel spacious. So get curious, get real. This curiosity, this realness, this truth telling of yourself to yourself is the foundation of authenticity and sovereignty in life, in business. And it is the foundation of expansion and growth, both in terms of impact and also in terms of income. So the work here is that first you want to get really clear about what it is that you really, really want to create and how you want it to feel. And not just how you want it to feel at the end, but how you want it to feel all the way through. As I like to say, the whole journey has to feel like you want the destination to feel. You can't create peace from doing a bunch of shit that feels like pressure. You can't create, expansion from contraction, or success from taking action that come from scarcity. How you want the outcome, the end results to feel and to be is literally the thread that has to be here and move through your entire business. You can't create freedom at the end by hustling all the way through to it. And most of us know that, like, we know that in here, but in here and in what we're doing, we're literally doing the opposite of that. And by the way, I am fucking guilty of that as well. I just catch myself. I just tweak. I re-anchor in my nervous system. I reopen my capacity so that I can be in trust and I can stop doing what doesn't feel good. So once you're clear about what you are authentically desiring, what are your true desires, then you do what we just talked about a little bit. You kind of unearth in your life what is no longer you, what is no longer that, what is no longer aligned, what is no longer expanding you and your life. And you start to tweak it, you start to heal it, you start to reformulate it or redesign it, or you even release it so that you can start fresh. The second part of this process, so at first we clarify the vision, then we look at our current life and notice and start to clean house, essentially. Notice everything that's not in alignment with the vision and start to clean house. Then the second part is that once you have clarity about what you want, and you have sort of like started to remove what is not that, then you have to become, and this is the sovereignty, the identity, the authenticity work. You have to become the version of you who is a match for what you desire, is a match for the outcome. And there's a number of ways to do that, that I work with quite a bit in my program, both in terms of in the somatic mastermind, but also when I work with people one-on-one. So one of the things you do to really like recalibrate your identity essentially and to become a match for what you want is you expand your nervous system. You expand your nervous system so that you can start to sense that it is safe for you to have what you want, for you to have what you desire, and for you to be that big, that bold, that authentic, that true to yourself. It's almost like you start to rewire your nervous system so that it is safe to be you. And it is safe to be here as you. It is safe to want what you want. It is safe to go after what you want unapologetically. It is safe to be seen in your bigness. So this first level of really stepping into your authority, your authenticity, your sovereignty is about rewiring the nervous system, expanding the nervous system so that you can step into that sovereignty and start to show up from there without any parts of you feeling afraid. The second way that we start to really shift our identity so that we're a match for what we want is that we begin to embody and anchor an unwavering sense of worthiness, of certainty, and of trust. And that's done both in the nervous system, but that's also done in the body. It's done in our brain and beliefs and in how we use our brain and our neurology effectively. And you start to anchor the knowing that you get to have what you want, and you get to allow it to be what it to receive what you want, being exactly you, without sacrificing yourself, without being punished for it, or without being afraid that you're going to have to pay for it in some ways. So when you're really anchoring and embodying that sense of unwavering worthiness, that sense of trust, it's like almost like you're taking the sense of safety that I just talked about in the nervous system, you're really anchoring it into your capacity to receive. The third thing you do to really shift your identity is you start to rewire your body to release resistance. Like every trauma, every wound, every conditioning you've ever experienced is literally every limiting belief that you have, every limiting story that you have is held in your body. And they create like pockets of resistance so that when you're trying to go for that next level of authenticity, that realness, that sovereignty, that bigness, it's like your body's holding on to all that resistance. And as I like to say, resistance is literally the nemesis, the antithesis to receiving. You can't receive that next level of you. You can't receive the next level of your results. You can't really receive the next level of the bigness of your sacred work when your body is in resistance. And resistance shows up all sorts of ways. It shows up as chronic tension, right? It shows up as like tightness and constriction. It shows us as feeling drained, feeling unmotivated, feeling stuck or frozen. It shows up in even fear or feeling like negative, like it's not going to work for us. So in this third level of shifting your identity, you're teaching the body to release resistance. You're teaching the body to reopen, to take space, to start to feel truly alive, truly spacious, and feel natural with what you desire, with the outcome you desire. So this is a calibration process. You're calibrating your body for what you want, and you're normalizing what you want in here. You're allowing it to start to feel natural and normal in here so that you can create it, you can receive it, and you can hold it sustainably out there. And so when you have all of that, you've worked on nervous system and safety, you've worked on anchoring like a sense of certainty, a sense of being completely worthy, a sense of trust, and you've recalibrated the body to essentially feel alive, feel spacious, feel like what you want is totally normal and natural. Once you have all of that, that's the final piece of the identity work, is that you start to really show up in a new level of leadership. You start to lead yourself powerfully through the ups and downs of the journey without reverting back to old patterns, to old beliefs, to old ways of being and showing up. And, when I work with my clients, I have a lot of different practice that they can do the moment they start feeling like they're wobbling or they're contracting or they're like almost like an old part of them has come back to the forefront and taken back the wheel. I have practices that I teach them that in a few minutes, they can bring safety back to their system. They can re-anchor trust. They can re-anchor a sense of feeling worthy, feeling safe, feeling capable. And then they're able to move the reins back to that sovereign version of them. Because, by the way, we all have that. I don't care how long you've been an entrepreneur for. I don't care how long you've done your work. When life throws you a piece of shit in your face, you have an impact. How do I know? Because you're human. And the moment that something happens externally that triggers an old wound or an old part of us that's maybe not fully anchored in sovereignty, not fully anchored in it's okay to be me. I get to be me. I get to be big. That part gets triggered right away back to the forefront. And it's our work to essentially provide that missing experience, provide a sense of safety, a sense of love, and come back into spaciousness, expansion. So these are kind of like the 4 steps of doing the inner work, right? Like, so you've got the figuring out your vision. What is it you really want? You've got the cleaning house, like figuring out what the fuck am I doing in my life, in my business? That is not that. That is in no way, shape, or form aligned with my vision. And that is actually draining me rather than inspiring me. Then you do the work, like the 4 levels of really shifting your internal neurology, your internal body, and your identity. And then finally, kind of like the last step here is once you have that clarity and you've rewired your life, your business, and yourself for what you want, then you have to show up day in and day out and take aligned action from that authenticity, from that sovereignty, from that authority and that alignment. You start to take aligned action that really honor the vision you desire. Action, for me, is the last piece of the puzzle that bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. For every action you take, it's literally like you are bringing the present where you are and the future where you want to be. You're bringing them closer and closer and closer. And at some point, they merge into one. You can't have that without taking action. As I said at the beginning of this training, I am the queen of lazy comfort. If I could just meditate and do my own work and just end up with clients flooding like my practice, I would totally do that. Maybe not completely, because I also I also feel like I want to share this work, even if people never decide to work with me. But I would do a lot less. I would do a lot less marketing. I don't know that I would do lives. Like, to be honest, lives were very scary for me at some point in my past. But I still felt like this was my next level to really like honor myself and my mission and my business, and also honor the world in some ways and what I'm here to bring forward. So all that to say that I don't know anyone who has created the outcomes they want sustainably over and over and over and over without taking aligned action, courageous action. That's the work. The whole thing is the work. Now, here's the caveat, right? Like, if you don't know what you want, if everything you do in your business sucks your soul dry, if you're not doing the inner work of expanding your capacity, anchoring trust, anchoring worthiness, feeling safe to be you, feeling safe to be seen, feeling safe to be big, it doesn't matter how much action you take. You will have so much resistance build up that you will block every result that you could ever create. Because I've seen the other side of that, right? Like, I've also seen people who are taking action, but their internal life feels so dark that they don't understand why they're not getting light out there, because the outside world is a mirror of your own level of aliveness and spaciousness internally. So this is my training. If this resonates with you, and in the upcoming year, you want to create a delightfully profitable, super simple, stress-free business with recurring revenue, so you always know that you're not starting from zero, that there's money coming in, you can feel safe in your business, and you want to create a business that actually, rather than being anchored in hustling, gives you more freedom and more white space so that you can actually enjoy your life. And you want to have all of that. And you want to have it in resonance and partnership with your nervous system, with your boundless body, so that you can have maximum ease, maximum flow, freedom, enjoyment in your business, in your life, in your receivership. Then I would love to work with you. Expansion isn't just a strategy. It's neurology and identity married with strategy. And if you and I work together, we're going to work on all three. Whether it's in my small group retreat setting in the somatic mastermind, whether it's in our one-on-one time. By the way, every client at any level gets one-on-one time with me. That's one of the things I feel strongly about. We're going to work on all three, because you need all three to really reach your goals. I want you to imagine this. And yeah, allow yourself to feel it as I say it. Doubling or tripling your prices and selling with absolutely unwavering confidence. Getting easy yes, one easy yes after the other, because you know in your bones that what you're doing, what you're selling, your pricing, your offer, everything about you and what you're doing is totally worth it and is in absolute alignment. Waking up every day with clarity, with calm, knowing exactly what you need to do to move the needle, to make sales, without feeling overwhelmed, without having doubt, without second guessing yourself. Being so authentically you that literally your presence is like a lighthouse. And your people, when they hear you, when they see you, they know instantaneously that you are their person, because you are so anchored in you, and you are so anchored in feeling safe being you, that any marketing you do is actually 10x through your presence. Or imagine being able to break free from all the life dramas on command so that you can refocus, you can feel motivated again. You can stop sabotaging your growth and your income through and by things that in the end are not what you want and don't matter. Being able to shift your mood, your state, your emotions, your energy level, like that. Being able to move from overwhelmed, unmotivated to excited, inspired, peaceful in minutes, no matter what life throws at you. My desire for you is that you're able to create high levels of safety, of joy, of play, of abundance in your life, in your business, and in your receivership. And that's the work I do. That's the work I do with regular people like CEOs and people who work in management and such, but also mainly with entrepreneurs and high-level service providers. So if this resonates with you, then let's activate what I call your 7-figure nervous system. And let's calibrate your body, your self-identity, and your business for the big life, the big impact, the income that you desire. And no overwhelm or sacrifice is needed here. It gets to be enjoyable and easeful and natural all the way through. So if that feels fun, check the description of this video. I've put a couple different ways for us to get started. It would be my privilege. It would be my honor. I would love to put my 20 years plus of experience to work for you and to help, to be a guide on this journey, to help you find the expansion, create the results that you desire in a way that really nourishes all of you, from your heart and soul to your body, all the way to your bank account. All right, that's what I got. That's the end of my sales spiel. I will see you next week. Bye.